Hey everyone, ready for a deep dive into some truly heartwarming stories? We're going to explore all those good vibes, those acts of kindness that make you feel all warm and fuzzy inside.
Yeah, those stories that remind you there's still good in the world.
Exactly. So we're taking a look at a recent episode of the Heartbeat podcast.
They scour social media for these gems, these stories of human connection.
Right. And this episode had like 10 of them. But we're not just going to rehash the stories themselves.
Nope, we're going deeper, right?
Yeah.
Looking at why these stories resonate so strongly.
The emotional impact, the ripple effects. Because kindness, it's contagious.
Totally. Okay, so first up, let's head to Willow Creek. It's a small town.
Picturesque, that close-knit community vibe.
Exactly. And they have this beloved elementary school teacher, Mrs. Thompson.
Everyone knows her, right? She's touched so many lives.
Well, she gets this devastating diagnosis, a rare illness.
Hits the community hard, especially her students, past and present.
Heartbreaking, right?
Yeah.
But instead of despair, they rallied around her.
They launched this online fundraiser to help with medical expenses,
And it just exploded. They blew past their goal in just a few days.
which really speaks volumes about how much she meant to everyone.
Absolutely. But get this, they didn't stop there. They used the extra money.
To create the Mrs. Thompson's Scholarship Fund, supporting future educators.
So her legacy lives on, inspiring others to, follow in her footsteps.
It's amazing how they turned a challenging situation into something so positive.
Right. It shows the power of community, how compassion can lead to real, lasting change.
Okay, now let's switch gears to a scene we've all experienced.
Oh, you mean that feeling of being overwhelmed and invisible in a crowd?
Totally. Imagine a young mom in a busy coffee shop.
Frazzled, trying to handle a fussy baby while ordering her much-needed caffeine.
You can just picture it, right? That feeling of isolation.
Well, this stranger sees her struggling, and what does he do? He pays for her order.
And leaves a note, something like, "You're doing great. Keep it up."
So simple, right?
Right.
But in that moment, it means the world to her.
Because it's about being seen, acknowledged, little boost of encouragement.
And he doesn't want anything in return, just a pure act of kindness.
Okay, now let's jet over to an airport where we meet Eli, a street musician.
Picture this. His guitar case is practically empty. He's having a rough day.
And then this little girl walks up to him, maybe 6 years old.
She doesn't just drop in a few coins. She empties her entire piggy bank.
Can you even imagine that kind of pure, childlike generosity?
It's incredible. But wait, there's more. After emptying her piggy bank.
She starts dancing to his music, just pure joy and enthusiasm.
And her joy, it's contagious. Suddenly, other people start smiling, stopping to listen.
They even start putting money in his case. It's like she created this ripple effect of kindness.
Exactly. It's like a reminder that we all have that capacity for joy and generosity within us.
Okay, now let's head to a supermarket where we meet Mrs. Eleanor.
An elderly woman who gets to the checkout and realizes she doesn't have enough money.
Oh, that sinking feeling, right? So embarrassing. This guy, David, sees her struggling.
And offers to pay for her groceries. A classic act of kindness.
But Mrs. Eleanor, she does something unexpected. Instead of accepting charity,
She invites David to join her for a meal at the supermarket cafe.
to split the cost, turning it into a shared experience.
It's brilliant, right? It shifts from transaction to connection.
They end up sharing stories, getting to know each other.
Maybe even becoming friends, who knows? It's about human connection, not just the material help.
It's a reminder that sometimes what we really need is to be seen and heard.
Exactly. That shared humanity is so powerful.
All right, let's shift gears a bit and head to a neighborhood.
One of those places with a real sense of community.
Yeah, Oakwood Heights. We're going to meet the Lopez family.
Just moved in, surrounded by boxes.
The excitement, the chaos. And as they're unpacking,
They find this beautiful handmade quilt on their doorstep.
and a note, something like, "Welcome to the neighborhood. May this quilt warm your home."
Oh, how sweet is that?
Right? Instant feeling of belonging, of being welcome.
Turns out, it's a tradition in Oakwood Heights. This lovely lady, Mrs. Adele,
She makes these quilts for all the new families.
building that sense of connection.
It's amazing how traditions like that can strengthen a community.
Speaking of connection, our next story takes us to a bustling city.
Picture a taxi driver, Raj, picking up a passenger, Mr. James.
And Mr. James is clearly having a tough time, down on his luck.
When they reach the destination, Mr. James struggles to find the fare.
Raj, he sees this and waves the fare.
But then he goes even further. He gives Mr. James his card.
Tells him, hey, next time you need a ride, call me. It's on me.
It's not just about the money. It's that offer of support,
That human connection, especially in a city that can feel so lonely.
And get this, Raj ends up driving Mr. James to job interviews, doctor appointments, even to see his grandkids.
It's like Raj's taxi became a symbol of hope, a reminder that someone cares.
Now, for a story about anonymous giving, we've got Emily, a hospital worker walking home late one night,
Cold winter night, she's passing through a park.
and sees an elderly homeless man on a bench trying to stay warm.
Heartbreaking, right?
She rushes back to her apartment, grabs blankets, some food.
But when she returns to the park, the man is gone,
She could have just gone home, but instead she leaves the items on the bench.
with a note for anyone who needs it. Just a simple act of kindness.
And it sparked something amazing. Other people started leaving things on the bench too.
It became known as the Bench of Hope, a testament to the power of one person's compassion.
It's like that saying, be the change you want to see in the world.
Absolutely. Now let's step into the world of art. We're at a gallery opening.
And we meet Leela, a young artist, feeling totally defeated.
Her work is being ignored. She's ready to give up on her dream.
But then this art collector, Mr. Arthur, he notices her work.
And he's blown away. He buys her entire collection.
Talk about a confidence boost.
But it goes beyond the money. Mr. Arthur becomes her champion, spreading the word about her talent.
Connecting her with other art enthusiasts, helping her career take off.
It's about mentorship, about seeing someone's potential and helping them bloom.
Okay, hold on tight, because our next story takes us right into the heart of a natural disaster.
The coastal town of Seaside, hit by a powerful hurricane.
Devastation everywhere, homes destroyed, people in shock.
But in the midst of all this chaos, something beautiful happens.
Volunteers from neighboring towns, they just pour in.
Bringing supplies, tools, and most importantly, their willingness to help.
They work side by side with the residents of Seaside, clearing debris, offering comfort.
It's that human spirit, that instinct to come together in times of need.
One volunteer said something like, we might not know each other, but we're all neighbors in this storm.
It's about that shared humanity transcending differences.
And for our final story, we're going to talk about the importance of safety nets.
We meet Natalie, a college student stranded at a bus stop late at night.
Her phone's dead, she's feeling vulnerable.
And then a car pulls up, driven by Mrs. Reynolds.
She offers Natalie a ride home, but she doesn't stop there.
She makes sure Natalie has a phone charger, and then tells her about safe rides.
It's a community initiative that provides safe transportation for students.
Mrs. Reynolds went above and beyond, connecting Natalie with the support system.
It's a great example of how organized kindness can make a real difference. Wow, so many incredible stories.
Right. It really makes you think, doesn't it, about the power of even the smallest acts of kindness.
Absolutely. I mean, that story with the little girl and the street musician.
Oh, the one at the airport?
Yeah. Just her pure joy dancing to his music, it totally transformed the atmosphere.
It's like she reminded everyone of that innate human connection.
And it sparked this chain reaction of generosity.
And you know, it's not just about the people receiving the kindness, it's about the givers, too.
What do you mean?
Well, there's actual research on this. Studies show that doing kind things for others actually makes us feel better, too.
No way. So kindness is like a win-win situation.
Exactly. Reduces stress, boosts happiness,
Yeah.
even improves physical health.
Makes sense, right? When you focus on helping others, it takes you out of your own head.
Totally. And it creates this positive feedback loop. Kindness breeds more kindness.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, I'm curious, what resonated most with you?
Tough question. I think for me, it was that story with Mrs. Eleanor and David in the supermarket.
Oh yeah, the one where she invited him to share a meal instead of just accepting charity.
Yeah, it just shows that sometimes connection is more valuable than material help.
Absolutely. It's about acknowledging each other's humanity.
And I think that's a powerful message for all of us, to look for those opportunities to connect, to offer kindness, no matter how small.
Because those small acts, they can have a ripple effect, creating a more compassionate world.
Well said.
Thanks for joining us on this heartwarming journey, everyone. And remember, be kind, be curious, and keep exploring the amazing world around you.